start.
Good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Titan Talk, the podcast everybody in Mercer County is talking about. I'm your host, David Sullivan.
I'm Levi Wilhelm.
We're coming to you from the beautiful Dennis Davis Studios, located on the Evan Harlow campus in Harrodsburg, Kentucky. We're excited to bring you all the weekly news with special guest commentary and hopefully something that you can use. Don't forget, Levi, to tell, if you like this podcast, tell all your friends and subscribe on the YouTube channel.
I will.
All right, awesome. Our guest today, Nick Price, we're super excited to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you. First of all, how should we address you? Is it Nicholas? Is it Nick? Is it private? Is there a salute? What are you comfortable with here today?
I'm very comfortable with just my name, Nick.
Nick.
Call me Nick.
Okay, call you Nick. All right, so we're gonna do that, Nick. Well, thank you for being here today. I appreciate you taking, especially on a Friday. I know that's probably a busy day for you. Thanks for coming. All right, well, I get to start out the questions. So we're going to do the most important subject, and that's football. I know you've had a lot of busy summer, and we're going to talk about that and get to that here in a little bit. But I wanted to talk to you about how is the season going. I know you played defensive end, I think, and lineman.
That's right.
I want to know, it hasn't been the same season as last one probably, but tell me how the season's going and how do you think you're going to finish up?
Well, right now we have a record of 2-5, so it's not going super great. But to be fair, we play a pretty tough schedule.
I saw that.
So yeah, we're kind of hoping for a better record and a better season. But we have Washington County tonight at home. It's our senior night, and we've watched a lot of film on them. We think it's going to be a pretty good game. I think we can come out with a win. So at this point, it's just we're into district play. So
okay,
as long as we win.
So as long as you keep winning, you can get right into the region.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, that's exciting though. So it's not really how you start; it's how you finish, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. So I have to ask you. Somebody told me that you're about 6'4", 235, 240 pounds. Is that close?
Well, that's close. That was before I left for basic training.
Okay.
So right now I'm sitting at about 210.
All right, 210. Well, that's a good weight. But, an NFL tight end, I looked this statistic up. An NFL tight end, the average size is 6'3" and 230 pounds, which puts you as a prototype for like a NFL tight end. So my question is, are you interested in, or are you looking at perhaps after high school continuing your football career? Is that something that we could maybe see you playing someday on a college or an NFL team? Maybe?
Yeah, I thought more about that last year before I joined the military, but yeah, definitely. Right now my plan is to go to Eastern.
Okay.
And if I was to get a scholarship there, I mean, obviously I'd love to play college football.
Okay.
That'd be a good thing.
What position in college do you think? Because obviously you're not going to go both ways at Eastern, right?
Right. Well, honestly, I don't play tight end anymore. I mean, I probably could if I wanted to, but I really love defense.
Do you?
I mean, defense is when, you get to hit people the most. I feel like. So,
Right.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, defensive end is definitely my favorite position on the field, and I've always said that it's the most fun position you can play on the field.
Could you play that in college?
I think so, yeah. If I got in the weight room a little bit more, gained a little bit
Picked
more
up a little bit more weight?
Absolutely.
Well, that's exciting. So we might see you at EKU on a football, right?
I hope so. And, if I don't get a scholarship, there's obviously the chance that I could walk on and still play. So
Right.
you never know.
Well, I can't see you not making the team. That's for
Oh,
sure.
yeah, well, thanks.
That's exciting. All right, Levi.
What made you enlist in the Army Reserves? How did it change you, and what did you learn about yourself?
I think that the biggest thing for me was that I come from a family with a lot of military history.
All right.
So that was definitely a big deciding factor in that. And then also, I'll be honest with you, I went through a patch where I was kind of a mean little kid, honestly.
Really?
So, yeah, you can ask my mom about that. But I really just wanted to better myself, and I knew that the best way to do that was to use the military as a stepping stone. And I think that it's done a lot of good for me in molding me and shaping me into a really good person, a really good man. So
yeah.
So tell me, I know you're going to EKU afterward, but how hard was the training there? Tell us about what was the hardest thing there, and what did you have to go through, and what sort of things did you have to go, man, I don't know if I can make this, because obviously you were in a class with a lot older men, right? Basically, older men,
absolutely, and females too.
okay, yeah, I don't want to throw them under.
You know, I feel like before I left, I kind of hyped my mind up and thought like, oh, this is going to be horrible. This is going to be so hard. But like when you get there and you finally adjust to being away from home, it gets easier every day. Just as each day goes by, it gets a lot easier and you kind of realize why you're there. And for me, the hardest part was being away from my family because I've always been very close to my family. So being gone for 2.5 months obviously can be very difficult.
Yeah.
But in terms of training, it was just all mind over matter. I mean, there was a lot of rigorous, difficult aspects in the training. Like, the biggest thing for me was being in Oklahoma where it's 115 degrees outside in the middle of the summer. And, you know, that was pretty hard. But
That sounds horrible.
yeah, but like I said, once you adjust to it, it gets easier every day. So.
So I heard a story about the gas chamber. Do you have?
Oh, that was bad.
Can you tell us about
That was
that?
bad.
I've been in a gas chamber, but
So basically what they burn is CS gas. It's a riot control gas. It's tear gas. So they put you in this room and they make you do some type of PT, which is physical training, like jumping jacks, you know, high knees, stuff like that to get your heart rate up.
While they're gassing you.
No, not that.
Okay.
So it's two separate rooms when you go into the gas chamber. The first one is where they get you to get your heart rate up so that you're breathing. And then they put you in this room where they're burning CS gas, and you have your pro mask on, which is a gas mask. And you can feel the gas like burning every part of your skin that's exposed. So I was in this uniform right here, but every bit of my skin that was exposed, I could feel it burning.
That had
And
to be a weird sensation.
It was intense. It was very painful, but you kind of adjust to that, and then they tell you to take your mask off and then re-don it without breathing. So you're not breathing anything in yet, and then they finally tell you to take the mask off, break the seal, and say the soldier's creed.
Oh my
So
gosh.
for me, I got 2 lines in and then took a big deep breath, and it was just
That was it?
the best way I can describe it is that it feels like somebody's literally trying to burn your face off while ripping your throat out.
Oh my
I mean, in all honesty, that's what it felt like. It was pretty intense.
That's intense. Did you
yeah.
throw up?
I did not throw up. My nose actually started bleeding, and it completely cleared my system out. Like, sinus is completely gone.
That's crazy. Yeah. That's a crazy experience.
It was intense.
Yeah, that sounds like
And I mean, all the while, you can imagine you have drill sergeants yelling and like telling you like, do this, do that. And then when you come out of the gas chamber, they release you all at one time, and you have to like wave your arms to try and get it all off. Let the air take it off. But it was
had to be a surreal experience, really.
It was.
Like, you're in Oklahoma, 110 degrees, you're in a gas chamber.
Right.
You know, it's not Danville, Kentucky.
Yeah, and honestly, as bad as the gas chamber was, and the feeling of that gas like getting into your system and whatnot, and like breathing it in, that was really bad. But the worst part was the nerves that came before it, because like it's just like you don't know what it feels like, you don't know what you're going into, and then once you get in there, it's like it hits you.
Wow,
it was tough.
Yeah, that sounds like a tough day. Yeah, makes my day sound a lot easier, right, Levi? Yeah. I'm complaining about a bad lunch. All right.
What does a typical day at boot camp look like?
Well, that kind of varies because in boot camp you go through 3 different phases. You go through red phase, white phase, and blue phase. So red phase was the phase where they really try and break you down. That's when the drill sergeants are mostly in your face. And white phase was all marksmanship, so we were on ranges, shooting M4s every day, learning how to use our weapon systems. And then blue phase was more focused around bringing everything that you had learned over that first 8 weeks and like compiling it all into one big training. And but a typical day is just you wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, get ready, and then by 5:30 you're downstairs in formation. You have PT until 6:30, and then you go into whatever training was planned for that day, depending on whether it was red phase, white phase, or blue phase. And another thing about red phase was it was a lot about overcoming fears, because one of the 7 Army values is personal courage. So in red phase we did like Treadwell Tower, where we had to rappel down a 40-foot wall and stuff like that. The gas chamber was in red phase.
Right.
So yeah, it varies depending on what phase you're in and what is planned for that day.
Was there as much yelling as you thought? I mean, were people like coming in at 2
there
in the
was more.
morning and just yelling at you for no
Well,
reason, or was there?
That part of it, nobody ever really came in during the night during lights out because we didn't get much sleep as it was. But yeah, there was definitely more yelling than I thought there'd be, especially in red phase.
Really?
It was pretty bad. But once you got into white phase and blue phase, it kind of became more where the drill sergeants were teaching and trying to, turn us into soldiers.
Right. How was the food?
The food actually was not that bad.
Really? That's good.
It wasn't that bad. It was pretty good. I mean, I enjoyed it.
Well, that's all right.
But then again, when you're burning as many calories as you are each and every day through the rigorous training, it's like you'll pretty much eat anything.
I bet so.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let me ask you this, Nick. Outside of family, who inspires you? Who's your role models? Just outside of people that are an everyday thing. Who are the people that you kind of look up to, or that you say this person really inspires me?
Honestly, if I had to pick one person that's not family, I would say my offensive lineman coach.
Really?
At Danville, yeah, Coach Dean, because he was a 68 whiskey in the Army, which is a combat medic. And so going into basic training, he was talking to me and like giving me all this advice and all these tips and whatnot. And yeah, I've always looked up to him because he's always been a big role model.
Well, that's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really cool. Offensive line coach. All right. Levi?
Let me ask you about your new tattoo.
Oh, my new tattoo.
We've heard a lot about you getting a tattoo.
What is the meaning, and do you plan on getting another one?
Yeah, I'll definitely get more tattoos. I want a lot of them. But the meaning of this one is I got my adoption date in Roman numerals, and then I got a Bible verse underneath for my mom's.
Oh, that's awesome. First of all, did it hurt?
It's the same thing like I said about basic training. I hyped myself up thinking it was going to be really, really bad, but honestly, it really wasn't. It's just the way that I describe it is just annoying pain. It's just
How long did it take to get the whole thing done?
Mine only took like 25 minutes. It didn't take long at all.
Really?
Yeah, and it's a really good tattoo. So I was happy.
Will you get another one?
Absolutely.
We don't have to tell any of your family, right?
Yes.
You're going to get another?
I plan on getting a few more.
A few more?
Quite a few more.
Quite a few. Oh, boy. Well, that's good. All right. Well, one last question before we go to the next little segment. Nick, what scares you? You're a big guy. You play football, which is the toughest sport there is. You're in the Army. Do you have anything that kind of scares you, or is there anything you're afraid of? Or
in all honesty, my mom still scares me. And then there was a drill sergeant I had at Fort Sill named Drill Sergeant Bocanegra, and she was 4'11" and probably didn't weigh 100 pounds, and I was very scared of her.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm afraid of moss.
Moss? Like this moss?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like that, right? Yeah, This was one of our more interesting finds about you.
But
moths.
let me explain that though.
Okay, please do, because we did a lot of research on moths and couldn't find them hurting too many people.
I know.
Okay.
I've never liked them, but while I was at basic, we did our final field training exercise in Blue Phase, and that was the Forge. So it was a 10K ruck march out to a location. We stayed for 3 days and 3 nights, and then came back. Now during that, on the very last day, we do something called Nick at Night. Now Nick is spelled
perfect.
NIC for night infiltration course. So you climb up this barrier, and then you low crawl over 200 meters of gravel under barbed wire, while drill sergeants are up on these platforms shooting tracer rounds over your head. So they light up, and it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. But when I got done, we lined up in formation, and a moth flew into my ear, and it got stuck in there. And one of the drill sergeants had to lay me down, shine a light in my ear canal, and pull it out. So that's why.
Okay, well, you know what? That makes sense. I can understand.
I'm very afraid of it.
And you got it out eventually, I guess.
Yeah, we got it out.
Yeah. All right. All right. Well, we're going to end this portion of our broadcast for just a second, and we're going to move on in just a minute. But we're going to pause for station identification so that YouTube can. We don't have to pay a fee. So we're going to pause for just 1 second.